If you are a .NET developer choosing between WPF and .NET MAUI for your next desktop application, this video will show you exactly what each framework offers and will help you make the right choice for your project. I'm going to build the same inventory management application in both frameworks, showing you the real difference in code structure, XAML markup, platform support, and development experience. By the end of this video, you will understand when to choose WPF for Windows-focused applications and when MAUI's cross-platform capabilities make it the better option. My name is Ronak and you're watching Vectorward. Let's start with what these frameworks are. WPF or Windows Presentation Foundation has been Microsoft's flagship desktop UI framework since 2006. It's mature, stable, and exclusively designed for Windows desktop applications. .NET MAUI, which stands for Multi-Platform App UI, is Microsoft's newest cross-platform framework released in 2022. MAUI is the evolution of Xamarin Forms designed to build applications that run on Windows, Mac OS, iOS, and Android for a single code base. Both frameworks use XAML for UI definitions and C# for logic, which means if you know one, you'll recognize patterns in the other. But as well, there are significant differences in how they approach UI design and platform abstraction. Let's look at the project structure. I have created Visual Studio solution with both WPF project and MAUI project. Both implement the same inventory management application. The WPF project has a straightforward structure. You have the app.xaml as the application's entry point, main window.xaml for your main UI, models folder containing the product class, and the WPF project are simple and focused. The MAUI project has more moving parts. You have the app.xaml, but also the appshell.xaml for navigation structure, mainpage.xaml for your actual UI, and MAUI project.cs for dependency injection and service configuration. MAUI also requires a resource folder for styles, images, fonts, and platform-specific assets. The additional structure in MAUI exists because it needs to abstract across multiple platforms. WPF can be simpler because it only targets Windows. Before we dive into the code comparison, I want to thank today's sponsor, Thumbnail Creator, for making this video possible. As a content creator, I spend way too much time creating thumbnails for my videos. I'm not a designer and honestly, most of my thumbnails probably look like it. But here's the thing, thumbnails are critical for getting views. YouTube is a visual platform and if your thumbnail doesn't grab attention, your videos won't get clicked. That's why I was excited to discover Thumbnail Creator. It is a powerful AI-powered tool that creates professional thumbnails automatically and it literally requires zero designing skills. Here's how simple it is. You paste your YouTube video URL or you can also describe it with your text. But I will choose the YouTube URL, go over here and paste in my YouTube URL and click on Analyze Video and Generate. Here you will see the next step, which is add faces. Of course, you can drop your photos over here if you want your face to be appeared on the thumbnail, or you can drop any image and it will integrate that image into your thumbnail. I have trained my profile with the photos of mine so that those will appear on my thumbnail. So I have selected the face model, which you can train over here. You can also select the brands and you can put your brand logos and materials here so that it recognizes the style that your brand uses, and also you can configure several other styles in the styles section. So I have done I've selected the face model and I will just click on this continue button over here and I will skip these parts where you can add products and stuff like that, and then also I will skip the part where I need to write a custom instructions. This is all optional. You can provide instructions like make the text bigger, make the darker colors, use focus on the product and stuff like that. And then you can also select the styles and references. You can use your styles that you have already provided over here, and this will help Thumbnail Creator create better thumbnails with the information that you provide. But with the information that is there on the YouTube video, it will analyze it and it will generate beautiful thumbnails. So I will just click on this button over here that will generate a few thumbnails for me, and you will soon see how simple it was for me to create these thumbnails. Thumbnail Creator AI watches the video and understands the context, extracts key frameworks and generates multiple optimized thumbnails options, especially designed for high click-through rates. So as you can see over here, it has given me 3 outputs and right now they are loading. Look at these options it generated. Each one is professionally designed with high contrast, readable text and attention grabbing compositions. These would have taken me hours in Photoshop, and honestly they look better than anything I could create myself. The best part, thumbnail creator understands YouTube algorithm. It optimizes for visibility at small sizes, ensures text readability on mobile, and uses color psychology to maximize clicks. It's like having a professional thumbnail designer on your team, but it costs a fraction of what you pay as a freelancer. If you want to try thumbnail creator for yourself, I've got an exclusive offer. Use my link in the description, that's thumbnail creator/vectoart, and you will get started today. Trust me, if you are serious about growing your YouTube channel, this tool is a game changer. Alright, let's get back to comparing WPF and MAUI. Now let's compare the XAML markup. I'll show you the input form screen from both applications. In WPF, we define our input form using a grid with columns and rows definitions. We use text box with custom controls like the custom style that we applied over here as a static resource called modern text box, which we defined on the top over here in the Windows resources. And notice the straightforward button click that triggers an event for the button. In MAUI, we use vertical stack layout and grid for the same structure, but the controls are different. We use an entry instead of a text box. MAUI uses clicked instead of the click event handler, and notice we define styles in separate resource dictionary files rather than inline. The XAML syntax is similar, but the control names and properties differ. WPF has more mature styling with control templates and triggers. MAUI uses a simpler styling system optimized for cross-platform consistency. The XAML syntax is similar, but the control names and properties differ. WPF has a more mature styling with control templates and triggers. MAUI uses a simpler styling system optimized for cross-platform consistency. One of the biggest differences appear in how we display data. WPF has the powerful data grid control, which is perfect for desktop application displaying tabular data. Look at this data grid. It has a built-in sorting by clicking columns, rows selection, and automatic column generation and rich styling options. The XAML is concise. In the code behind, if I go back to the application over here, you can see that we simply set the item source to the observable collection of products, and WPF handles all the data binding automatically. MAUI does not have a data grid. Instead, we use a collection view with a custom data template to achieve similar result. The collection view requires more XAML. We define a header for our column titles, then create a data template that specifies exactly how each of rows should look like. This gives us more control but requires more code. Now let me run this application and you will see how this collection view looks like. The collection view does not have built-in sorting or column resizing like the data grid. We would need to implement that ourselves if needed. But the collection view is optimized for mobile devices and works consistently across all platforms. The C# code behind is remarkably similar between both frameworks. Let's look at the add button event handler in both the projects. On the left hand side, I have the WPF code, and on the right, I have the MAUI code. On the WPF code, you will see that we use a message box instead of to show our validation errors, which is a simple synchronous dialog. And on the right hand side, you can see the same method, but we use a display alert async method for displaying the error, which uses the async await pattern. This is necessary because the MAUI runs on mobile platforms where blocking the UI thread is not allowed. Also notice we use the clear text box in WPF, whereas in MAUI we use the text string.empty to clear the text. Styling is handled quite differently in WPF. WPF allows you to define styles directly on your Windows resources or in your app.xaml file. So here you can see I have the styles applied directly under the Windows.resources section, and you can see I have applied the styles and triggers here. Notice the control template that completely redefines how the button renders, and the triggers that change the background on mouse over. This level of control is powerful for desktop applications. MAUI encourages separate colors and styling into resource dictionary files. So here you can see in our Solution Explorer under resources, we have the styles, and under that we have colors and styles. So the styling system is simpler, no control templates by default, but it ensures your styles work consistently across Windows, Mac, iOS and Android. Here's where MAUI shows its cross-platform strength. WPF is Windows only, so there's no concept of platform-specific code. In MAUI, you can write platform-specific code using conditional compilation or platform-specific folders. For example, if you need to access the Windows file system differently than an Android, you can do that. MAUI also provides abstraction through the Microsoft.maui.essentials namespace for common tasks like file picking, geolocation, and device information, which works across all platforms. Performance and deployment differs significantly. WPF applications are typically smaller and start faster because they are Windows only and leverage the .NET runtime installed on Windows. MAUI applications are larger because they include platform-specific abstractions and need to support multiple targets. However, MAUI lets you deploy to Mac, iOS and Android from the same code base. So if you need cross-platform support, that trade-offs is worth it. If you need Windows, WPF is more efficient. So when should you choose WPF? Choose WPF when your application needs to run on Windows desktop. You need advanced desktop controls like DataGrid with built-in features. You're building a complex business application with rich UI interactions. When you need perfect pixel controls over rendering. When you want smaller application size and faster startup. When you are working with existing WPF codebase or teams experienced in WPF. You might need mature third-party component libraries like Telric, DevExpress, and SyncFusion. WPF excels at traditional Windows desktop applications. It's mature, well documented, and has a massive ecosystem of controls and libraries. So when to choose .NET MAUI? So when we choose MAUI, we need to take care of these points. You need your application to run on multiple platforms like Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. Then choose MAUI. Choose MAUI when you are building mobile first or mobile inclusive applications. Choose when you want a modern, actively developed framework. Choose when you are starting a new project without legacy constraints. When you need to share business logic across desktops and mobile. Choose when you want to use modern .NET features and architectural patterns. When you are comfortable with smaller but growing ecosystem. MAUI is the future of cross-platform .NET development. If you need to reach users on multiple platforms, or if you want to future-proof your application, MAUI is the clear choice. If you have an existing WPF application and you are considering MAUI, here's what you should know. XAML syntax is similar but not identical. Controls have different names. For example, text box is called entry in MAUI. DataGrid has no direct MAUI equivalent. Code behind logic is mostly compatible. Business logic and models can be shared. So the migration isn't automatic, but it's not a complete rewrite either. You can share your business logic, models, and view models. The main work is adapting the UI layer to MAUI's controls and layout system. Microsoft provides migration guides, and there are tools to help identify incompatibilities. For large WPF applications, consider a phased migration approach or evaluate whether cross-platform support is truly needed. Both frameworks have excellent tooling support in Visual Studio 2022. WPF benefits from 18 years of designer improvements. The XAML designer is mature and reliable. MAUI's designer is newer and still evolving. You can use XAML hot reload to see changes instantly without recompiling, which works great, but the visual designer isn't a feature complete as WPFs yet. Both support debugging, IntelliSense, and refactoring. The learning curve for MAUI is slightly steeper due to its multi-platform nature and additional concepts like app shell and dependency injection through MAUI program. Let's wrap this up. We have built the same inventory application in both WPF and .NET MAUI. Both frameworks use XAML and C#, Both support MVVM architecture and both are backed by Microsoft. Here's my recommendation. If you are building a Windows-only desktop application and don't need mobile support, choose WPF. It's leaner, faster, and has better desktop-specific controls. If you need cross-platform support or you are building a new application and want to future-proof it, choose .NET MAUI. Yes, it's newer and the ecosystem is smaller, but it's where Microsoft is investing for the future of cross-platform development. I have posted both complete projects with full source code in the description below. Download them, run them side by side and see which frameworks feels right for your needs. And don't forget to click out thumbnail creator using my link in the description. It seriously changed how I create thumbnails for this channel and I think you will love it too. If this comparison helped you make a decision, please like this video and subscribe for more .NET desktop development tutorials. Drop a comment and let me know which framework you are choosing and why. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.